Every culture, every different country, they have their own wedding cultures. It's like crazy. In our culture, it's like a whole month to 2 month event, like sometimes years for people. Tradition of like keeping the bride or like putting the haldi thing on,
Yeah,
like,
I mean-
you know, like, and they keep the bride and groom separated,
Yeah.
or like they are not allowed to see each other. That's also tradition.
Yeah.
And like the bride cannot leave somewhere. Like she has to, in Urdu, we would call it like mayo. Mayo is
Yeah.
time.
So what does rasam translate to? Do you know?
I hope you're not planning to waste my time.
Welcome back to the late shift. It's happening in the morning.
Yes.
All right.
It's called a late shift because it's happening a little late. I don't know what I'm saying.
I mean,
No, but like,
it's called the late shift because it's very, very catchy.
yes, it's catchy, but also the meaning is that late shift means that we're done with all our, you know, like chores and whatever.
This is the after hours.
It's after hour talk.
Yeah,
That's
this
what
is
I
what
mean.
happens after hours.
Like after kids, after food, after blah blah blah, after work. This is the after
Yeah,
hour.
yeah. So tell me what's going on with you? What's new?
Nothing. My brother's getting married, you know.
All right. Yeah.
And it's chaos. And I'm the only girl, so I'm the only sister. So yeah, a lot.
That's that's.
But I'm trying.
That's great. So
It's fun though. I mean, dance practices and food
Yeah.
and clothes, and you know how our weddings are.
yeah. The culture is beautiful, right?
Culture is beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about the culture. Like what, you know.
For weddings,
Yeah, for weddings, like the wedding culture.
I think the wedding culture. It's like there's. I mean, you can go and get married in a mosque, right? Like
Yeah.
that's for some
Yeah.
people that's shadi, wedding.
Yeah.
But in our culture, it's like a whole month to 2 month event, like sometimes years for people because
Yeah.
you know, like it's just divided into so many things which we don't really need. You know, mayo, mehndi, like for henna, and there's like so many traditions involved. And after the wedding's over, the next day there's a breakfast tradition. Like these are all made up,
Yeah.
you know, from our culture, but it's a long, long process. So, and I think you know what it does? It drains the bride and groom out, and in sometimes people don't even like enjoy their own weddings because it's like day after another. It's like I have to do this, I have to go here. Oh, this event is on Monday and then this is on Tuesday and Wednesday. There's no break sometimes because it's like long.
I mean, that's super interesting. Like everything
It's
you just
interesting.
said, right? Where there's two separate things going on here.
Yeah.
One is culture, one is religion,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
With everything that has to do with the religious aspect of it, you know, you go to a mosque, and then
I mean, it's
obviously,
easy, it's
you know, it's a
faster.
very simple process.
So I remember something funny when I got, married in the masjid, because it's first you have to do that, and then
Yeah.
there's all these events which are for fun, of course. It was funny because I don't even remember saying yes. You know,
Really?
like how you have the memory of saying kabul hai or yes or whatever you
Yeah.
may say in your language or religion. I don't remember, and like I feel like because of so many. My brain wasn't even thinking to enjoy that moment. And you know how you have to just live the moment sometimes?
Man, that's so hard.
It's so
That's
hard.
very
And
hard to
when
do.
I look back in my wedding,
Yeah.
videos and pictures, I'm just like, first, I was pretty young. And then second, I was like, oh my God, I was like stressed. And like, you can clearly see that the brain fog is there. You cannot, enjoy. Some people just forget to enjoy the moment. And I think the biggest take I would give that just enjoy the moment. I told my brother, I was like, this time will never come back. You're going to go somewhere, you're going to have all your family, you're going to take every day, take a deep breath in the morning and just say, I'm going to enjoy this today. Every moment I'm going to soak in. And then you really enjoy your wedding.
I mean, I think that's super key.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a destination wedding, right?
Yes.
We're going to Canada.
Canada.
I'm actually very excited
I'm very excited.
for the poutine. Right? You can't. I don't know why you can't get it here. It's very Canadian.
Yes.
Right?
And Tim Hortons.
Tim Hortons. I mean, I'm not a big coffee drinker.
I'm not either, but
I'm not a big coffee drinker.
and the Krispy Kreme donuts, I think when I had them in Canada were much better.
Better? I feel like
I-
America is the donut capital of the
Probably,
world.
yes. That's a whole other conversation.
Right? How does that even make sense?
I don't know. Maybe it was fresh. And maybe I'm just like, you know. But
Yeah.
it was like right there, and we ate. It was like warm, but I don't know. But it was better.
Yeah.
Off topic.
Off topic. So
Yeah.
getting back to like the culture. So I mean, tell me. I'm actually very very interested because how do you keep your culture alive when your kids are gonna grow up to be Americans when you've grown up to be an American,
I
right?
think it's
So I feel like a lot of it's lost also because there's a big strong push for being super religious, right? And those two things people don't really understand have existed ever since the dawn of that religion, right? Where the culture and the religion have
Has been
existed side by
side by
side.
side.
But
People
now,
have been dealing with this for a long, long
so
time.
yeah, but it's almost work like very, very symbiotic, very it's helped one another, right? So that's something that I wonder like.
Yeah.
So is your brother going to be doing like the traditions, the rasams?
I think so. Yeah,
When the
because
bride right comes back to the
the
house.
house they do it's I mean now people have like started not doing it, but I remember like when the bride comes back they do like this big bowl of like milk, and then
That's super cool.
it's a tradition, but like it just like they put like rings in there, and like they're like whoever can find it first is gonna have a step first in the marriage, like that's their mentality.
Sure.
Like that person will be like the upper.
Sure.
So I feel like that's the mentality. That's why that thing was made, the tradition. But then there's like this thing about giving something to your wife at on the night of, and like parents are always like, "Oh, muh dikhai." It's like when you see your wife's face for the first time, you're supposed to give her a gift. Like that's a tradition too.
That's a tradition.
I don't think it's
right?
anything to do with
So, but
religion.
even if all right, so the main contention here is that the culture has to do with our, or like forefathers, right, who had converted from one religion to another, whether it be Hinduism or honestly Zoroastrianism or Buddhism or whatever it may be, right? But those traditions, they don't represent anything religious. It's more so like your culture, right? We're like, so how do you draw the distinction between being Muslim, right, and not being or wanting to be an Arab, right? Wanting to have your own culture and be proud. I mean, even if if you look at Christianity, right? Can I be English or can I be French, German, and can I still believe in Christ and carry those traditions that come from a faraway land, right? Jesus was a Jew, right? He looked like me. How do you, keep those traditions without saying like, hey, it's not Islamic?
For me, like it's so weird. So for me, like that thing we do with like the Nazar Utarna, that's nothing to do with religion.
It has nothing to do with
It has nothing to do with religion, but I don't know it's good or bad, but I just have a memory with that tradition, and I just like I just think like sometimes you do something and you're like, oh, I know it's not gonna work, but like I'm just it makes you feel good, right? Like it will work out. So whenever you do that, I feel like it makes me like it reminds me of my grandmother, and I know she got it from her grandmother, and I feel like it's more so to keep the memory alive of somebody.
Maybe, yeah. I mean,
Traditions
because
are what else? What are traditions? Somebody started something, and in front of the whole group, they liked it, became a tradition.
yeah, like
So
for
that's how I do it, and I think with like weddings and stuff too, some things are not like religious, but I think it's just to like, to set boundaries or make, like help the new couple go in a good direction. So that's how you basically. That's how I draw the line.
I mean, yeah, like, look, my personal belief, right, is that I won't ask anything of anyone other than the Creator, right? That's what I believe, right? So all of these traditions, I don't rely on anything else except what comes from the one who's uncreated, right?
Yeah.
To rely on,
and that's how it should be.
Yeah, and that's how it should be.
Nobody else can give you.
Yeah, but these traditions for me, right? Like the way I see it, they're cool, right? They represent the past, that
Exactly.
we don't have any record of, right?
Yeah.
The traditions that we carry, that's something to be proud of. Like, you don't want to be some blank slate without any culture, without any religion,
Yeah.
or without any language. And then that's scary to me.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Like, you know, the tradition of like keeping the bride or like putting the haldi thing on.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
it
yeah,
helps. I mean, it's
yeah.
like it also has a good meaning to it too. Like, it helps the bride, you know, like, and they keep the bride and groom separated,
Yeah.
or like they are not allowed to see each other. That's also tradition.
Yeah.
And like the bride cannot leave somewhere. Like, she has to be at home until I mean, those are
So-
sweet.
Yeah. So in Urdu, what would you call these things, right? So Urdu is
In Urdu, we would call it like mayo. Mayo is
yeah.
the girl is just at home, you know, like then she gets all the haldi and henna and all that stuff. So it's like moms are actually taking care of their, you know, daughter or whatever before they send her off.
Yeah.
I think that's the meaning.
Yeah.
But I
So-
think it's also cute.
Yeah.
You know,
Are,
it's
are
like
they called rasams?
rasams, yes.
Rasams.
Rasams are like what happens at the wedding. Like the rasam is to take the, you know, shoe away.
Sure.
Juta chapai is a rasam.
Yeah.
And like doodh pilan is a rasam.
Sure.
And that, what the meaning is behind the doodh pilai rasam is like when the bride and groom share milk. It's like when they're, you know, like they're sharing something together for the first time.
So what does rasam translate to? Do you know what it
Rasams?
actually means?
Rasam means
Is it
tradition.
tradition?
Like traditions.
Okay,
in
traditions, right?
So
So, yeah.
rasams are tradition in Urdu. You know,
Yeah.
like how we say traditions are like running from like ages, right?
Yeah.
So in Urdu we'd say rasme chalti aa rahi hai, you know, from a long,
Okay,
long time.
traditions happening.
Traditions are happening for a long time. Also, leave in the comments below what you think about.
Yeah. Or like, what would you guys like to talk about? I mean,
Yeah.
you know, this just kind of started me asking about a brother's wedding.
Yeah.
But then it kind of.
I mean, it's it's about a wedding, and like in our culture, basically, it's a huge conversation. You know, there's so many
Yeah.
branches to it.
Yeah.
So I think it's fun. We're excited.
Yeah.
You should experience a Middle Eastern wedding
So
once in your life. It's
So-
fun. It's fun, no doubt.
so South Asian wedding.
Okay, South Asian.
right?
Yeah, I'm
We're
learning,
here
guys.
to bring, I guess, light to the differences, right?
Yeah.
So, like, as an American, an Asian is somebody from Asia, right? So,
Yeah.
so somebody from China, right?
So we're South Asians.
We're South Asians, right? So somebody that grew up in China is apparently the same thing as somebody that
Grew up in Pakistan.
is from Laos or the south of India or Sri Lanka. That's ridiculous, man. It's like saying, I don't know. You know, there's a lot more conscious awareness of the differences between different Europeans, like so like a German and a Frenchman, right?
Yeah, yeah.
There's rather as opposed to like
From there.
South Asia
South
or
Asia.
East Asia or Southeast Asia, right? Or Central Asia. So yeah, so South
All,
Asia.
scrambled together.
Yeah, they're all like, oh, they're brown. You know, it's like, aren't they're brown or they're Asian?
Brown
looking,
and
right?
beautiful. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I mean, that doesn't even make sense,
What?
right?
It makes,
How we're called brown people,
but
but
it's
we're lumped in as Asian. So I'm technically an Asian. Right? That's
yeah,
how I feel
I'm
out
Asian
of makes sense. Right? Yeah,
South Asian.
yeah. We're in South Asian.
Yep.
Yep.
I'd say. Or what's happening in your life?
Honestly,
What's going on? How's work?
work is good.
How's everything
Work,
else?
kids. You know, I can't complain. I feel like
Alhamdulillah.
I'm on I like to do these new things, like these personal journeys to take, and
Right, right.
we'll talk about them. You know, eventually we'll get to them.
We'll get to
but
next episode.
yeah, I'm also going to a wedding. Right? The same wedding. I'm also going to the same wedding, so I'm excited for that.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun, and we're gonna be recording it, most of it, hopefully.
Yeah.
You know, and you'll probably see bits and pieces of it. So stay tuned.
Yeah, you know, I haven't gone anywhere in a very, very long
Me too.
time.
So I'm actually excited for a vacation.
I'm excited, but
Not
I'm also
for this-
anxious.
I
You
know,
know,
I know.
I'm like, oh man, I'm going away from home.
Yes.
man, you know,
Yes. And after COVID.
COVID.
we-
It's
this is our first trip
yeah,
out of country, and I'm excited. But yeah, you're right. I'm anxious too.
yeah.
With kids, and you know, like taking kids and like packing, and I feel like I'm an overpacker anyway. Like I packed 4 suitcases for like California,
Yeah.
and I don't know what I'm gonna do because there's so many. It's not even. It's so funny
It's
when
like,
you
what if
pack.
something
Exactly.
What if I get sick? What if,
I pack like extra
Yeah.
stuff, and by the time I come back, I don't even need it. And when I'm back, that suitcase is still closed off, so I didn't need it.
Yeah.
But it's just your brain telling you that you might need them.
Hey man, your brain is a very
It's like
our brain.
our brain.
Our brain is very, you might need this. It tries to calculate it for itself, for
Yes.
yourself in the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah.
Most of the time, it's wrong.
It's wrong.
it's
But
very,
see that it's a process, thoughts to brain, and then
Yeah.
actions. And sometimes you should tell your brain,
Yeah.
calm down. You get it. You got it.
yeah. Well, I mean, hey man, habits are established through
Yeah.
repeated work.
Yep.
Yeah.
Consistency.
Man, I don't know where we left off.
We left off with traveling.
With traveling, but also I do want to
That's what I
dive
do.
deeper into like the specific traditions. Maybe that'd be cool. We
Yes.
could talk about
Yeah.
the
Dude, we can talk
specific
about our traditions.
traditions and like where they come from exactly.
Like what's their actual origin
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, so,
like what tradition came from where.
Yeah.
We could do a whole series about it.
Yeah, exactly.
If
And
you
like
guys want to invite.
it's even the language, right? Is like a Frankenstein of languages.
Yeah, and it's so
Yeah.
interesting. South Asian weddings, ours, one thing, that has some religion in it. Like we do our traditions according to what is right
Yeah.
and religiously, but like other weddings too, they have like so many other traditions where they like in Bengal, I think they have to put some kind of dots, and it's just a painting on the face, but it probably has a lot of behind the scene meaning to it.
Oh yeah. So,
Like where
yeah,
it came
for
from
sure.
and what their culture was, and like they have something with the leaf, and I don't know, there's so many, like I'm just saying, like for every different country they have their own wedding cultures. It's like crazy.
Yeah, so yeah.
Every wedding is
Yeah.
totally different.
Yeah, I feel like so our culture, right, is mainly North Indian, right? Because we're from a very specific region in North India, and then partition, people left, and they brought those traditions, but they kind of melted with different ones in like
New ones.
in new ones in Punjab and Sindh, right?
Yep.
But yeah, definitely it's comes from the same. So like with Hindu weddings, right,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
with Muslim
Yeah,
weddings, right?
yeah.
People from that same area can have the very same traditions, but then certain aspects or the religious aspect
Would
of
be
those
different.
ceremonies will be
Are
different.
different,
Right?
yeah.
It's kind of like a slot machine. Right?
Yes, yes.
So yeah.
Everyone has their own different take on things.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
traveling is
should-
back to traveling.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
It'll be fun though. It'll be
I
fun.
mean, probably just take a couple breathers in the morning every
you
day.
gotta get out there,
Get
right?
ready
It's
for
like
the day.
even if you're anxious to leave the house or to go anywhere, rather than staying home, right?
go.
You have to make that leap because human beings were made that way. Once you
You
do
have to-
something
yeah,
difficult,
Yeah,
right, you will feel
yeah,
great,
yeah.
right? And that fear of yours, right, that seemed all consuming, and I mean, I don't even know, like it would never leave you.
Exactly.
It's now left. And
Like
it's gone.
honestly, I'm not even joking.
Yeah. Serious. That's how it feels.
On me talking on camera is a big
Yeah.
leap of faith. So please be kind.
Yeah, but like I mean, with COVID,
Yes.
I don't like traveling far anymore.
No.
And so like every time I have to go to Chicago or whatever, like
Even downtown,
I have to
like
prep myself. I'm like,
that's a backpack.
I got this, I got this, man.
Yeah, yeah.
And like I'm still, but you still gotta get after it, even if like, you might get some moments where you're like, can't do,
Can't do
just go through with it, man. Have some faith in yourself that
To
you can
take
do
that
this,
jump,
right?
yeah.
And moment by moment, incident by incident, you are building a building, right? So when
Yeah.
you look back, right, it doesn't look like much,
Yeah.
right? But when you look back in the aggregate or as a total
It's a
over
lot.
time,
It's a lot.
you're gonna be making moves, man. You're
Yeah.
gonna be making steps.
Yeah.
And that is gonna be great. I think that's a good place to leave it.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is a good place
Good
to leave
message.
it. You got our message. Let us know what you guys think. What you want to talk about, traditions, cultures, religion.
Honestly,
We're
man,
here for it.
I feel like it'd be cool to dive deeper, right?
Yes, yes.
So, like the way that I grew up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I grew up in very like Anglo-American neighborhood.
Right.
I was the only brown kid in my high school. But I also went, on the flip side, I also went to like a religious school in madrasa, where I learned Arabic, and so like I feel like it would be cool to dive deeper into that aspect, but also I love different cultures, man. I have a culture of my own.
I'm totally opposite. I grew up in a different country, moved here, very different. You know, like when I was 15. So yeah, you're already like a grown up, but you're still. I feel like you're just still
Those are your
trying to figure it out.
very formative years, right? Where things impact you.
Yes,
very
yes. And where I grew up was a different culture. I went to all girls school, and it was like, you know, like
I'm interested to get your take on
yes,
that.
yeah.
So.
And that will be next.
Yeah. All right. So, late shift. My name is Hamzah.
My name is Arooj.
Right. And thank you so much for listening to us.
Yep.
Give us a subscribe and let us know in the comments if you kind of want to hear anything in particular. I mean, it's kind of free flowing. That's the way.
And if not, we'll be talking. No better.
All right. Cool.
You're not planning to waste my time. To my surprise, that was her reply.